The guitar fretboard only looks confusing because nobody showed you this map first. In this video, I'll show you how to see the neck as a simple pattern instead of a fuzzy, sketchy, random bunch of frets and guitar notes. Let's start with one string, the E string, and that makes the whole thing a lot easier to visualize. Eyup FretHeads. Now, you may be asking, why does it even matter to learn your note names? Well, here's why it's important. You need to know your note names so that you can find root notes for chords, scales, and arpeggios. And because the guitar offers us such a wide range of voices, we need to know this in lots of different positions so that we can choose better sounds. Unlike the piano, the guitar neck can look mysterious, but really it is elegantly designed for us to be able to find everything quite easily once you know the secrets and how to unlock those. Let me show you some cool things first. If we go up 12 frets, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, then what you can see here is we get the double dots. And those are a marker that help to demystify where we are on the neck. And really, we want to be looking at where the dots are to help orientate where we are on the guitar neck. So, if this is an E, then if I press down at the 12th fret here, this is going to be an E as well. Now, this doesn't just work on one string, it works on all 6 of your strings. And I know some people struggle to remember the order of the letters for the strings. E, A, D, G, B, E. Now that can be tricky, so what we do is we use a mnemonic, and the mnemonic I use is Eddie, 8, Dynamite, Goodbye, Eddie. Now it's up to you to make up one that makes sense to you. I once did a class where the kids came up with one that was evil aliens die gruesomely by earwax. Lord knows what kind of films they've been watching, but that one worked for the whole of the class. So you need to find the mnemonic that works for you until you can ditch it. Ultimately, we want to get to the point where we go E, A, D, G, B, E. And quickly back to our 12th fret here to show us that we have the exact same notes. When I played the E before, I went E with that open string and then E at the 12th fret. If I do the same with the A string, which is the next string down, there's A, and there's A again. D, 12th fret is D. Open G string, 12th fret is a G as well. Open B string, 12th fret is a B as well. Open E string here, and then at the 12th fret we get the E an octave higher. Like I say, ultimately we want to be able to know these note names on every fret, and we start with the natural notes, which come from the musical alphabet, which is the regular alphabet that goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it starts again. Now, something I want to show you immediately here is how some notes are next to each other in their letter names. So here, this is an E, like I said before, and we need to know where F is going to be. Now, you may think to yourself, well, F could be here, and that would be the right guess. But in some cases, we have to go up 2 frets to get to the next natural note. Let's find this E to F. That's E, and that's F there. If you know what that is, drop it in the comments below. What we want to do is we want to carry up here using that musical alphabet. Now, oddly, because we started on the E, we have to move to the F, and then we're going to move to the G. Now, here's where it gets a little bit strange. E and F are always next door to each other. This creates something called a half step or a semitone. We could think of it as being 1 fret. We're starting on a 0 fret, which is an open string, moving to the 1st fret. Now, when we want the G, it isn't the next fret up. There is something else that goes in there, which we're not going to touch upon in this lesson because we're looking at the natural notes. What we're going to do is we're going to move up a whole step to get to this G here. So that's where the G is. And if you want to chunk this down, which I highly recommend, you go E, F, and then you go G. Okay. Now, if you want a handy way to remember that E and F are next door to each other, what we'd use is another mnemonic, and I use eggs fried because that's how I like my breakfast in the morning. So eggs fried, E, F, E, F, just to know that. And this will make sense as we move through these notes. And like I say, we had G here. Now what we do is we need to go back to the beginning of the musical alphabet, because the musical alphabet ends on the letter G, and then we go up 2 frets to get to the A. Now this is going to make sense in a minute when I move up to the next notes, because here I go from A, I'm going to move up 2 frets again, or a whole step, to get to the B here. Now what happens is, a 1 fret distance, or a half step. And that is B and C there. E and F and B and C. So what we're doing here is we're learning how to recall this in your mind's ear. Now, getting back to that breakfast analogy, I like my bacon crispy. Bacon crispy. So I'm going to say that B, C, bacon crispy. How do I like my eggs? I like my eggs fried. Eggs fried, bacon crispy. And that's going to lock in the idea that E and F and B and C are neighbour notes. They're a half step or 1 fret apart. Every other group of 2 notes has a gap where we don't play anything. So this is F. Remember, we missed a fret to get to G. That's a whole step. Going from the G to the A, there's a whole step. Going from the A to the B, that's a whole step. But when we hit that B, C, we remember bacon crispy. Look at this. This is C. This is D here. So we're going to do that same thing again. So B, C next door to each other. And then we go up a whole step, missing a fret. There's C, D. And then we do that again. And we go D to E here up to the 12th fret. And if we remember that the 12th fret was where we got our octave. So if this is an E and this is an E, then we are basically starting again. Now the cool thing about this is we get an opportunity to learn it once but be able to use it twice. Anything that happens on this thick E string is mirrored on this second E string that we have down here, this thin one. So if I want to think to myself E, F, okay, eggs fried, and the rule is that E and F and B and C are the only 2 notes that are next to each other, then I go from the F to the G. It's a whole step, so I know I have to miss a fret. There's G to A. Now we've started the musical alphabet again. There's A moving up to the B. And we can see we've gone up that whole step. Oh, B. Hang on, what was the rule about that? Eggs fried, bacon crispy. So B, C next to each other. And now this is another shark. And we'll see how small that shark is there. So there's B, C. We're going to move up a whole step to get to the D. And then we move up a whole step to get to the E, which we can see because of the double dots is our octave. Now the cool thing about the guitar is the dots are laid out in a specific way that signpost how we treat the rest of the frets going up the neck. So what we can see is at the 3rd fret we get a dot, at the 5th fret we get a dot, at the 7th fret we get a dot, and at the 9th fret we get a dot. Now if this is the octave where everything is a repeat, then the same applies up here. So we can think of this 15th fret as being equivalent to this 3rd fret. So if that's a G, then this is a G. And we can do the same with the 5th fret and the 17th fret. If that is A, then this is an A. And we could do the same thing with the 7th fret and the 19th fret here. And we could do it with the 9th here, and we can do it with this 21st fret. But I'm only going to pick on these 3 here because we want to take our time with this. We want to make sure that we conquer this area of the fretboard because this is where you will do most of your guitar stuff at first. When you get up into the dusty end of the neck, that means you have conquered improv and lead guitar and all that sort of stuff. But let's conquer where we're going to be using it the most first. So we have eggs fried, bacon crispy. We have Eddie 8, dynamite, goodbye Eddie, or any other mnemonic that you need to use to remember the names of the strings. So we're carrying that idea up the string as well, guys, not just going across the open strings. If we take the 3rd, the 5th and the 7th, we're going to look at this G here, we're going to look at this A here, and we're going to look at the B here. So we have the letters G, A and B. And this is what I call the gift of the gab. So this is G, this is A, and this is B. And I'm just using my dots there as my visual aid. I'm looking at the dot and moving to it. And what's useful to do is to say it as you play it. So G, A, B. Now I call this the gift of the gab because if you know somebody who's good at talking and very good at selling things or something like that, they have the gift of the gab. G, A, B. So I'm going to say that as I play it. G, A, B, A, G. Now I'm going to go down here to my open string here. I'm going to go E, F because that's eggs fried. Eggs fried. G, A, B, gift of the gab. Oh, hang on, we've got B, C here. B, C. We know this is an E. So we've got B, C. There's just one more note to fill in there. We just remember that C goes to D. And then we know where all the natural notes are on that E string. And like I said, we could repeat that up here. Here's E to F. And then we go F to G, which we know is a whole step. We go to G to A. We go A to B. Here's B to C. And then here's C to D. And now you're not going to play up on those notes because frankly those sound pretty rubbish. But we now know that we can do that, and we can also do that on the thin E string. So essentially we have tackled and conquered the notes of 2 of 6 of the strings that we have on the guitar. So let me show you why we need to do this. Like I said at the beginning, we use it to find the root notes for scales, chords and arpeggios. Let me do an example major scale. You might know this as the Do, Re, Mi scale. So if I start on the G, because I know where G is, I go E, F, G. G, that's my Do. So Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. So you can hear there, that's the same pattern that I can move up and down starting on any of these notes here, but I'm just using these natural ones for now. So let's say I start on this A here, you'll hear that it's exactly the same sound. It's the Do, Re, Mi scale. So here's Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. Let's try it on the B string because we have the gift of the gab to help us. Here we go. B, there's the B note, so that's going to be the root note of the B major scale. So we go Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. Now this can apply not only to scales, it could be power chords. Here's a G5 power chord. Here's an A5 power chord. Here's a B5 power chord. What if I wanted an F5 power chord? I would look for my F root note here and I would just put that little power chord shape on. So hopefully you can see the neck is not a random mix of guitar notes. It repeats. And if we learn one E string, then you learn both. The 12th fret is just the same as an open string again. Another thing I want you to really ingrain in your head is that the dots are not there for decoration. They are there to guide you and show you where these notes are. And once you know where those notes are, you can find the root note to build a chord, scale or arpeggio, or find the tonic for a key. So that gives you the logic behind the guitar neck and the string names and these first landmarks that you need to be able to start finding notes easily. But knowing how to find these notes on the E string is only part of it. If you want the next step in making the guitar neck easier to learn, I'll show you that in this next video and we'll break it down into chunks again. Chunks keep things simple instead of trying to learn everything all at once. So click to watch that video here.